Hi friends, this is Calpun Piso, presenting nothing but facts with the evidence to back them up. I want to explain today about connections. Our brains create thought, product of evolution. When the brain is sick and malfunctions, it cannot take to fact as in reality. All the bizarre beliefs, metamagical bizarre beliefs found at the core of all religious beliefs are also found at the core of neurological disorders like schizophrenia, temporal lobe epilepsy, and many, many, many more of the schizophrenias. Because there's no one, there's many schizophrenias. Religious beliefs are a form of schizophrenia. Religious is organized schizophrenia, all created in the brain. I want to present MRIs, one of my subjects that suffer from epilepsy. These are all done with an MRI machine, and the MRI machines are thanks to collective knowledge of science over millennia by mentally healthy, in other words, atheist people collecting data. When you reject the fantasies and fairy tales and the schizophrenia-like beliefs of God and angels and ridiculous, irrational concepts, then that means that you can tell between fact and fiction and your brain is healthy. In other words, sane. That's the reason you should always, when you refer to an atheist, never just say atheism, which is lack of belief in nonsense and crap and gods and crap like that. When you're an atheist means that you're a healthy individual, able to use reason and compute everything with the brain in a healthy manner, rejecting the fairy tales and the psychosis. When you suffer from religion, you accept beliefs that are crazy, fantasies to be reality, just like theotarded people, like people with problems in the brain. So let's start with this MRI. This machine, they put you in there and they slice the brain. Start with the nose, and then you can do it at different angles. But when you start here with the nose, you go like this, and it slices your brain up to the end. That's what you're going to see here in this MRI, this video, of the subject that I have. A friend of mine, his brother's from schizophrenia, and you'll see this here. Just like a schizophrenia. Every people of faith suffer from this neurological syndrome, this affliction. Cannot tell between fact and fiction. Here it is. The problem in the United States of America is Christ psychosis. The neurological disorder like the schizophrenia of zombie God belief. The resurrected zombie named Jesus Christ, but by the way, it's nothing but a title of Julius Caesar the Christus, that has been contaminating the mind and infecting the mind of humanity for 1500 years. It all started in Rome. This is the integration of the vast Roman Empire. That's what you have, you Christ psychosis. In many, you have Judaism, which comes from the same thing, and you have Islam and all its denominations. Mental illness, if you believe all that to be true today in this 21st century, where we know that the brain is the creator of thought. So here start with the nose, and you'll see in an MRI what happens. Tip of my tongue slicing the whole thing. This is the organ we all animals have, product of evolution, DNA, over 3 billion years. But as you can see here, it's just a sliding, and then the brain is the universes within that we create thinking with. All animals have this, and we have 5 senses. You can see our eyes, the vision, then you have the hearing, the sense of smell, the sense of touch and taste. There are all the sensors we have, the main 5 senses we have to navigate the planet. But everything in the brain, there are more connections in the brain and neural connections than galaxies in the universe. This is how big it is. It's incredible. This little bundle of gray matter is making us navigate the planet. And when it's faulty, it doesn't perceive reality correctly. It has distortions. And this happens in schizophrenia and all religious beliefs. Because religious beliefs are a neurological disorder no different than schizophrenia, caused perhaps by the Born virus. I believe the same virus that, due to a series of coincidences and accidents, initiated the evolution of the primate brain over 47 million years ago. In other words, it made the primate crazy and start having an imagination and thinking and all that. Crazy, just like the religious people are today. And the fact is that everybody ignores. The fact is that we human beings, evolved mutated primates, were all created by a fuck. In other words, in scientific terms, it's called coitus. All animals are created by that. An action, a reaction. We're all created by fuck. And there's a gestation period. It's DNA, transfer DNA, and mutations occur. Adaptation. It's all evolution process. We're all that way. Scientists, neuroscientists, religious people, dumb people, ignorant people, any type of person in the world, it was a result of a fuck. Dawkins, the mentally healthy atheist Dawkins, Francis Collins, the Pope, the Queen of England, President Obama, Christ-psychotic infected Romney, all these people, they're all product of fucks. And they're all born with a brain that is empty of information. In other words, atheist. In other words, lack of belief in gods. But God can mean anything. Bizarre mythological belief, irrational crap, that could be, you could call it as a god. So atheism means lack of belief in this nonsense. Then you get education and all the information is fed into your brain. But many times the brain malfunctions or is genetic defects. It's like when people are born slow with the problems in the brain, they cannot get savants and problems with information. People are susceptible to schizophrenia, to all these different disorders. And it's in the genes. And people born with a certain, big ears, big nose, blue eyes, yellow eyes, black, green, purple, whatever. That's because of genes. Mutations. So people that believe in God believe in false beliefs, gods, irrational things, and you are educated. You do have a problem, not unlike schizophrenia, cognitive dissonance. People that have temporal lobe epilepsy attacks can create these distortions of the brain, like in things like this. The results of an MRI. And there is absolutely no difference. And I think any mentally healthy atheist neurologist should emphasize that. There is no difference between the bizarre mythological beliefs. In other words, the crazy shit produced, irrational and crazy and deluded crap produced by religious people, which believe all this stuff is true. All religions have all this crap, all these deluded, crazy things, crazy beliefs. And those beliefs of the schizophrenia, which also have the same deluded, crazy, bullshit crap that they believe is true. But this is the schizophrenia, which are completely no different than the religious people with faith. The schizophrenics are no difference. But Cryptopsychotic infected imbeciles, people that suffer from this disorder they don't even recognize for 1500 years, or they believe in God and crap like that. Today in this 21st century, they ignore it. They differentiate. Says, oh, schizophrenia is a disorder like that. And religious is, with all this crazy belief, oh, that's sanity and reason. That's not so. They're one and the same, under a different name. Religious belief are a mental disorder, a psychopathy. And we should keep that in mind. Here you'll see Monsieur Dr. Henry Markram, brilliant neuroscientist, in TED. Brilliant, awesome YouTube, giving people information of brilliant minds. TED. And here is some clips of when he talks about the brain. The brain itself is the universes in our heads that we create thoughts with. In other words, the universe itself, after the Big Bang, eventually created by a series of accidents and created all that, actually a mirror getting to know it himself. So thought is, we can get thought understanding the universe. That is the universe getting to know itself via our brains. So that's what it is. It's the organ we create thought with. We create gods with. We create all kind of things with. And if it malfunctions, then you accept all this irrational crap as true. That's just a schizophrenia, and it's also religious faith. Here is a clip from Dr. Markram making my point.
So this theory is that the brain builds a version of the universe. This version of the universe, like a bubble, all around us. Now this is a philosophical debate for centuries, but for the first time we can actually address this with brain simulation and ask very systematic and rigorous questions whether this theory could possibly be true.
And the brain, after we are born, he has 5 primary senses. Okay, we have the eyes, hearing, smell, we have taste, we have touch. The main primary senses, 5 of them. There's some ignorant cryptopsychosis infected imbeciles that cannot tell me that we have tons of more senses. No, morons. Basically 5 main senses. And each sense has millions of other devices that connect using the brain to use as other senses. So learn neurology and evolutionary biology. But anyway, we have 5 basic things that the brain uses to navigate the planet and learn and acquire information. We have the nose, this sense of smell is very important, but the eyes, when the eyes opens, gets all this information, and you have to analyze everything you see. If your eyes don't work correctly and you have a problem with your eyes, and then the information gets distorted. This happens with malfunctioning brains, especially Christian people of faith. The brains are malfunctioning. And only the ignorant and children have an excuse. But if you're educated and very well educated and all that and learn and you still believe in resurrecting zombies, I say with blood or flying prophets and crap like that from the Middle Ages, your brain is malfunctioning. It's under the effect of drugs or cognitive dissonance. Chemicals make your brain have all this schizophrenia type of disorder that nobody seems to see. That's the truth. But it's like Dr. Markram here saying, when the eyes open and you get all this information, and of course you have all the senses too, it's like opening a door to a thing and you're trying to analyze everything. But remember, all the information is in the brain, it's the subconscious mind. It's right in there, nothing is lost. But you only grasp consciously just few things. Somebody tells you, oh, what do you see in that room? Close your eyes and tell me what you saw. Yeah. You only bring up in the conscious just few things in the conscious mind. But if you get hypnotized, you go in the subconscious mind, you're trying to pick up the information, and it comes in your dreams also, everything is there. Nothing is lost. It's all in the subconscious mind. That's the beauty of the universe within the brain, with past, present, and future, are one. That's the beauty of thought. Thought is just like, what is the dimension of a thought? What is it? Did it exist? Is it in the future? What? No, it always exists. It's like quantum mechanics of the brain, quantum entanglement. Thought is the universe within, with past, present, and future are the same. That's what we create anything we want with. We are, in a way, the gods. We are representation of the universe. Well, you want me to the primate, anyway. But the brain is amazing. That makes it exist. And here is like opening a door. Very interesting. Very well put by Dr. Mark Brown. Check this out.
Door, you open it. What you compulsively have to do to perceive is to make decisions. Thousands of decisions about the size of the room, the walls, the height, the objects in this room. 99% of what you see is not what comes in through the eyes. So I can say with some certainty, I think, therefore I am. It had to improve it a little bit. It had to add to the frontal part so that you would have instincts, because they had to cope on land. But the real big step was the neocortex. It's because they had to cope with parenthood, social interactions, complex cognitive functions. It's the ultimate solution today of the universe as we know it, that the universe has produced. Successful in evolution, that from mouse to man it expanded about 1,000-fold in terms of the numbers of neurons to produce this almost frightening organ structure. And it has not stopped its evolutionary path. In fact, the human need. If you zoom in onto the surface of the neocortex, you discover that it's made up of little modules, G5 processors like in a computer, but there's about 1 million of them. They were so successful in evolution that what we did was to duplicate them over and over and add more and more of them to the brain until we ran out of space in the skull and the brain itself. And that's why the neocortex is so highly convoluted. We were just packing in columns so that we'd have more neocortical columns to perform more complex functions. Grand piano, 1 million key grand piano. Each of these neocortical columns would produce a note. You symphony. But it's not just a symphony of perception. It's a symphony of your universe, your reality. Now, of course, it takes years to learn how to master a grand piano with 1 million keys.
What we must understand is that we are evolved, mutated primates, product of evolution, not God or crap like that, or supernatural intelligent designer bullshit. These are thoughts occurring in defective brains. If I operate somebody, the brain, or give you drugs, LSD, or an adenter or datura flowers, or anything like that, to an atheist or anyone, your thoughts will be disrupted and distorted. And you will believe irrational things to be reality at that particular moment when you're under the influence of drugs. So people that believe in God are people of faith or spiritual, are people under the influence of a psychosis, of an anomaly in the brain. It's a natural drug, a natural psychosis. It's a schizophrenia, natural schizophrenia, because we're all crazy apes anyway. We all have a form of a schizophrenia. We are product of the borna virus that initiated our evolution 47 million years ago, turning into a freaks of nature. In apes, in thinking apes that think their shit doesn't stink and they're created by gods. That's a fact of it. The only life after death we'll get is bacteria eating our remains. That's a fact. So we were clothing and thinking and language. And of course, there are 8,000 languages spoken in this planet in this 21st century. 8,000. much more than they were over 2,000 years ago. But everything mutates and evolves. Tempora mutantur nos mutamur in illis, in Latin, which means times change and we change with them. In other words, things evolve. The language evolves, the culture evolves. So people that are stuck in the past, believing that everything is created just the same way, are suffering from a mental illness, a psychosis, a theotardism. Tardism means delayed, a slow thinker. It's just like conservative. Conservative means to conserve the same ideas of the past. Look at the GOP. It's a perfect example. People that are psychotic, they go to church. The churches tell you nothing but lies. Lies, lies, lies. Things are not true. They believe that Winnie the Pooh is true, Donald Duck is true, and all these characters are true. They're a product of malfunctioning brains. And they stagnate the intellect of children. And this is the danger of having Christ psychosis infected imbeciles in Congress. The majority are running the country. Congress runs the country. All these people are imbeciles. The Supreme Court of the United States, 6 of them, of these imbeciles are Christ psychotic infected lunatics. They believe in Jesus Christ, the resurrected and saved with blood, and talking snakes, and the Mormon psychotic believes in stuff, the Hindu psychotic believe in all that crap, and then you have the Muslim psychotics believing all, and then they wear these costumes from the past. See, and they subjugated women because they stink and they're impure and they're idiots, they're psychotic, don't understand science. And the United States is the problem. They want to eliminate education. They want to eliminate PBS. But these guys are disgusting pieces of shit, lunatics, stuck in the past, like Romney and the rest of the GOP morons. These people belong in a mental institution, in asylums. Every church in the United States ought to pay taxes. And they actually pay taxes every time they tell children lies and more lies and more lies. Because they make them theotard and psychopaths when they grow up. Especially the brain cannot reject the fairy tales of the zombie Jesus and all that crap that are created by unhealthy brains. Slow thinkers. Theotards. That's the reason I find the Christ psychosis of zombie ability. Believing God is a psychosis. Dysfunction. And we all should know that. So, I hope you enjoy the truth. Let's stump Christ psychosis infected illness that makes people stupid and theotarded. Pace the arm.